Hey everybody! I just decided to take a chance that some of you are out here and jump on to do a little live cast. I haven't been around in quite a while. It's been the summer. Things have been really busy, as they usually are during summer. And yeah, I haven't been around on Facebook quite as much, but I'm looking forward to kind of jumping back into work now that it's fall, now that kids are back in school. I can kind of focus back on my routine. So I thought I would finally talk a little bit about my perfume collaboration that I have. This awesome gift box that has just arrived in the mail from IFF, which is a fragrance company in New York, International Flavors and Fragrances. The way that I started working with International Flavors and Fragrances was actually about 2 years ago when I was giving a talk in New York about my last book, Wild Sex. I was on a book tour and I was giving several talks at different venues in New York. And after one of the talks that I gave, this beautiful woman came up to me and she had this gorgeous, amazing French accent. She was clearly from Paris, and she looked like Catherine Deneuve in Belle de Jour. I was immediately in love with her, and she started talking to me about her work in life as a perfumer in New York, and how she and her company, International Flavors and Fragrances, every few years they run a sort of a creativity project. They collaborate with scientists all over the world, although I think the bulk of the scientists they collaborate with are in Scandinavia and Denmark. But Celine, that was her name, and I decided to work together on this project and just basically use some of the crazy aspects of animal biology and animal sex into developing a fragrance. We went in a number of different directions with it. So the FDA does not allow for pheromones to be specifically included in perfumes. So, I had lots of really great ideas about jumping on, pheromones and manipulating pheromones. And of course, some of my most favorite lines of sexual behavior in the animal kingdom have to do with homosexuality, not just the prevalence of it, but the naturalness of it. And so I was very much interested in playing with some of the pheromonal cues that would be more appealing to homosexual people or people that tend to identify more along those lines on the sexual spectrum. But yeah, they meeting after meeting, the IFF people had to shut me down because they were like, well, no, we can't really, do things that are going to manipulate people's systems. So the story that we ended up focusing on for the purposes of developing this fragrance is a story of a solitary orchid bee, where males actually will collect a potpourri, basically, from several different kinds of blooms. So males will create a virtual perfume on their legs. They'll gather a whole bunch of different kinds of fragrance pollen and different molecules that are super smelly, and they'll store them all on their legs. And this is essentially to woo the females with a very fragrant, a very appealing bouquet. Now, the interesting part for me, one of the most interesting parts for me about this, is that the males will compete with each other very violently. They will actually get to the point of murdering each other, ripping legs off in order to get a hold of a certain male's bouquet of perfume. And so this is the overall reaching story. I mean, sex and death, like, you can't go wrong. Come on, the world is obsessed with sex and death. And I mean, in humans, it's very easy to keep sex very separate from death. Not all people do, but it's very easy to keep those themes separate. But in the animal kingdom, there's a very fine line in many cases. And so that's where I'm at right now. I'm just going to open this box. I thought to myself, oh, should I open it in advance and just know what I'm going to say and blah, blah. But then what's the point in doing it live if I already know what's in the box, right? So I was in New York a few weeks ago, Interestingly, another development that's happened off of this project. Oh, I didn't even finish explaining the project. Ugh. Yeah. Let me finish explaining the project before I'll probably get into this. I have 4 children. Can you tell? I have my knife ready. Anyway, so the project. Okay, it's a creative endeavor between individual perfumers at IFF and minus Celine, of course, me and Celine. We're besties now. No, she never talks to me, but that's fine. But anyway, a perfumer, a scientist, and an artist. And so the artist that designed ours was this crazy good conceptual, very tactile artist. And so basically IFF commissions these projects from these little trios of scientist, perfumer, artist. And that exhibit has been on display in New York since, well, it's just come down now, actually. It was on between April and August. And I was just there a few weeks ago to see it because what IFF does, and I think this is just so creative and genius, is that they then invite many of their international clients. And so, you know, major brands that that hire IFF to develop certain fragrances for them, just come and look at this beautiful exhibit that's kind of wacky as crazy. Like, it's meant to be crazy. It's meant to be thought-provoking. And could we make something that smells a little bit like this, or what are the implications? It's just meant to be like a no rules, no holds barred, just do it. So anyway, a fairly major international brand looked at our fragrance, the orchid sort of violent sex death perfume potpourri thing, which was called Erotic Engine. That was the name of our fragrance. And they're actually quite interested in perhaps working a little bit further to make this fragrance into an actual fragrance that will be part of their major brand. And they're actually looking to me to sort of be one of their spokespeople for that, potentially. We'll see. I don't know, but, you know, neat that life can kind of throw out all these kind of strange opportunities for you. Okay, so here it is. I'm going to open it before I lose my entire audience because I'm being too wordy. And I'm hoping what's in here is a little bit of info about the actual art exhibit. I just, you know, oftentimes I think in the science world we forget the importance of being wholly creative and just doing something because we can, because we have the brain cells to put together to do something that's a bit wacky. But of course, this is where life happens. This is where this is where the magic happens. Okay, so here it is. I'm opening it. I'm trying to make it so that everyone can see. Ooh, packing material. Neat. More packing material. Ooh, more packing material. Oh, fabulous. Okay, so this is basically, Avant Garden is what the entire exhibit was called. Oh, I'm not even holding that right. Ooh, it's so weird when you try to. Okay, Avant Garden. Expeditions into future perfumery. Yes, that looks amazing. 10 perfumers, 10 scientists, 10 sensory experiences, merging artistry, technology, and information. Love. Like, could there be a more perfect position? Yippee. So, okay, there we go. And ooh, what is this? This is a little bag. And this, actually, I know that this logo that they have for the Avant Garden exhibit there's definitely, this is some kind of a wave pattern from, I think, geology, but don't hold me on that. Oh, and look at this. So what is this? It looks like, this is all basically info about all of the different aspects of the exhibit. So I guess I will go through some of these, but oh, cool. It's the map for how it all looked. But this is actually a really good intro to what's going on here, sparked by the simple question of what the perfumery of tomorrow will smell, sound, feel, and look like. Avant Garden brings a broader reflection on human needs and interactions. For me, I feel like the rest of my life will kind of be spent doing projects that forge this kind of relationship between diverse industries. Because basically the bottom line is that we're not really all that different Scientists, artists, those in the beauty industry, those in the medical industry, there we all have so much in common. Interestingly, I'm going back to Cancun, Mexico in a couple of, well, maybe about a month, a few weeks, to do another talk at a biomedical, well, not a biomedical, but a cardiology conference. And so again, I just love being able to cover so many different worlds in the work that I'm doing. And I'm hoping, oh, there's no, that's it. Oh, they didn't send me any actual perfume. Well, that's a little bit disappointing. Luckily, when I went to New York, I got a whole bunch of the actual perfume samples. Why would they just send, anyway? Okay, well, maybe there's a part of this packaging that's got perfume in it or something. Well, or they sent me an empty box. That's pretty awesome. But basically, all I wanted to do with this hangout was just wait, see what was in the box, hang out with you guys a little bit. I do notice that there are some questions. Hang on, let me just check in. Hello, people saying hi. So yeah, basically that's what this was about. And what we can do is look forward to seeing what might come of it. Sort of in talks now, negotiating what the next steps will be, working with this company that really likes the fragrance that we made. So, hey man, when you're thinking that life can be boring as a scientist, it's clearly not, because we've got, yeah, there's opportunities like this all the time. And I'm just very blessed to be part of one. I guess that's it for today, guys. Yeah, I don't know. Let me know what you think in the comments. And I feel like it would be really fun to do some giveaways of some of the samples that I brought home. And also, I don't know, just to kind of get your feedback, see what you guys think, and what would you like in terms of a fragrance that is inspired by biology? What would be some of your favorite ideas for that? I would love to know what other kind of interesting things we could come up with. In any case, have a great night, guys. That's it for me. Ciao. Back to school. Whoop, whoop.